Well, welcome back to Brush Up Your Game, and today we are ranking versions of Benjamin Sisko. And I have to say Benjamin Sisko, otherwise we'd have to rank Jen Sisko in there too. That would be Mirror Jen Sisko. But yeah, Tristan, welcome in.
Hello?
And right before I hit record, we were talking. Sisko's a character where it just feels like there isn't that version of him in Attack Wing that goes, this is Ben Sisko.
Yeah, I mean, his abilities certainly have kind of a theme where it's kind of retribution or payback or very very combat oriented, which I guess kind of feeds into how Cisco develops, as a foil to the Dominion and the Cardassians. But yeah, I mean, compared to Picard or Kirk or heck, even Janeway has, her she's only got two cards, but they're both still pretty definitive and have a very distinct place in the game. But I feel like Cisco is much more amorphous, and there isn't a real standout, and there's not one that you see showing up a ton compared to some of the other captains at the same level as he would be in terms of Star Trek lore. So
Right. Before we get going, I will say I am disappointed, or maybe perhaps expectant, that we do not have a Bajoran Sisko, an
the
emissary
emissary, yeah.
Sisko. I would have lost a bet if you told me the Denorius, the Bajoran's sail ship, did not come with a Ben Sisko, because I would have bet that it would have.
That would have been the only thing worthwhile in that pack.
Right.
Um,
To be fair, I did almost run a Denorius in uh, regionals in 2017. It was going to be like a quad warp jump
okay, okay,
with
yeah, that's
like
probably where.
ganking to steal multiple
Yep,
cards, and you'd never be able to kill it because it was
yep.
never going to be on the map.
I've considered doing that, something very similar with the Surak class. Yeah, I can see that for
Yeah,
sure. Yeah.
yeah, just
Well,
because it.
maybe if they ever get around to recosting the Bajorans and we get a Bajoran faction pack, that I would guarantee he has to be in there, right?
I would
But
hope
that
so.
yeah,
Yeah, I don't know. You could almost consider him an ambassador at that point.
yeah, he could just be the Cisco. He's the Bajoran
Yeah,
ambassador. Yeah.
I don't know. And anyway, weird, weird stuff. But yeah, I know he was not an admiral, but I could almost see an admiral Cisco that just represents him being the like fleet captain of the Dominion War.
Yeah, I mean, definitely uh, it's kind of weird when you think about it. He certainly had more than just he almost kind of like Commodore level or fleet captain, like you just said, took charge of more than just the Defiant or
Yes.
more than just the uh, Deep Space Nine, but never really was identified as such in the series. You kind of have a again, much like his cards here, it kind of had a amorphous status as to where he stood in the command structure, maybe. But
Yeah. I don't know. It's weird. I think that's all I'm getting at is Cisco just doesn't have that card, whereas Picard has two cards that feel very much like Picard.
sure, yeah,
Even three. I'd say all three of Captain Picard, the eights and the nines, feel like Picard. Kirk feels like Kirk. Janeway feels like Janeway, but Cisco doesn't quite feel like Cisco.
yeah, that's a great point. I mean, I 100% agree with you.
At least power level wise. Anyway, let's get to number 6, shall we?
All right.
Yeah, this was not not difficult to put Mirror Cisco at the bottom. Rule of Three killed Mirror Sisko for me. I had run him a couple of times before. I liked him more back then because being able to discard some upgrades, gaining extra attack dice was nice. It was never the best thing to do, but there were desperate times where it was like, okay, I need to make sure I destroy this ship, otherwise I'm done for. This doesn't cost me anything. At least not action wise. It's costing me my stuff, but yeah, the struggle is Mirror does not have cheap cards. I guess you have Brunt,
Yeah.
which is a 1 point card, but Brunt is arguably more useful putting an Ox Power token on somebody than he is being chucked out the airlock for an extra die.
Yeah.
And Mirror does not have cheap weapons. Well, they kind of do, but they don't have cheap tech, and they don't have cheap ways to get more slots, which is what you need to be able to do this. The best thing that can be done is to put Jen Sisko on a ship,
Mm-hmm.
let her do her thing. Now she's not useful at all, except to throw out the airlock for an extra attack die. And boy, that hurts, just from a lore standpoint. But
Yeah, Conk would be another one that would do the same thing after the game starts. His usefulness is gone as well.
yeah,
Yeah.
but even then,
Um,
you just don't have a way to keep getting stuff. I guess Ben Sisko on the that Ferengi Marauder that lets you keep restoring Ferengi crew could kind of work.
yeah, yeah, that would be an option. Trying to think. Well, I guess you could always pair him up with Kelvin McCoy or
Yeah.
something like that. I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
it's just he there's just better ways to get more attack dice. I think is what
yeah.
it boils down to.
Yeah, I agree.
Plus, he's
Yeah,
only
I think.
skill 4, and
Yeah.
yeah, lots of stuff that just hurts. I think is what
I,
this all comes down to.
I mean, it's nice. He's got elite talent for 2 points because you could put Rebellion or Strafing Run or something on there.
I do
It
like
maybe
those
make it
talents.
worthwhile. Yeah. But I think, to your point, not only is the cost of a lot of the mirror crew high, but a lot of the mirror crew abilities are dependent upon them being discarded themselves. So
Yeah,
then now you have to decide between whether you actually want to use them for the ability that you paid for, or you just want to get potentially one extra, damage through if you're lucky, kind of thing. So yeah. I mean, much like maybe this might be the one version of Cisco that feels like Cisco because Mirror Cisco was kind of there for a little bit and then he was gone. And then he was only in one of the Mirror episodes, right? I think by the time uh, Prime Cisco got pulled into the Mirror universe, this version was dead already or something. And he
yeah,
was
I
just
think
hanging out with
so.
Miley. So yeah, that does feel somewhat
It
thematic. He
it
doesn't have much of
does.
a but not what you want. That's not what we were
No.
talking about before, but anyway.
All right. My number 5 is reroll Cisco.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's cool. Once per round, you can reroll any one of your attack or defense dice. That's nice, but it's not good. And he's 6 points for, or 6 skill for 4 points, which outside of really good abilities, it's typically we're now looking at 6 skill for 3 points. And this is not a really good ability.
No, if this was every time you attack and defend, then
Mm,
we're talking about maybe that's maybe at the top.
yeah,
Even at 6 skill, 4 points. But I mean, once per round. I mean, I guess it's nice you have the flexibility of attack or defense, but there's especially on the attack side, there's much easier ways to convert stuff. So
there is. And yeah, like one die. I don't want to do this for one die.
yeah.
That's just, it's not worth it to me. All right, my number 4, and this is our divergence. Yeah, I went with the
Boldly go to
Dominion
school.
War. Sisko. And to be fair, I like this one. Except if there's no Dominion ships on the board, this essentially just says in phase, remove an auxiliary power token from your ship.
Yeah.
Skill 8, 5 points, talent slot, which is all great, don't get me wrong. It's just, unless you know you're up against Dominion, which typically means you're in a mission situation, and if you are, cool. Good captain, very good situational play. But it just becomes very specific. And because of the narrow focus, I brought him down. If you're telling me build a fleet to go up against the Dominion, he's one of my first picks. But for just general utility, I can't put him any higher.
I can appreciate that. I do have them higher, but I think I have for very specific builds where aux tokens are an issue.
Yeah,
He excels. So
I get that.
yeah. For me, I have. I'm not even sure. Is this Robinson Cisco?
It is.
Yeah. Okay. So another 8 skill, 5 point. Every time your ship suffers one or more damage, you can roll a die and potentially give some of it back to your opponent. If you get a battle station token, you get a battle station result. You get a battle station token, then you get an aux token. I mean, it sounds in theory really good. I mean, it's basically a built-in eye for an eye, but it's reusable, which is, I think we all agree that's probably one of the best elite talents that Klingons have now. The battle station token is nice, but I mean, I'm thinking for the most part, especially on a higher skill captain, by the time you're taking damage, it's probably further on down the line. You're not going to be able to take full use of that battle station token. I don't know if you could keep that token into the next round or something like that to potentially use it for the next attack, it might be more thematic for Sisko. And
It
then you get
would.
the aux token. Again, not that aux tokens are game killers, but you got to account for that if you're going to work around it. So to me, just there's a lot going on there, and I can see where they're trying to go with Sisko. We've seen that he definitely had a retribution vengeance side to him,
Mm-hmm.
especially when he was dealing with Eddington or Ducat. But just doesn't quite work for me with this card and how it plays out.
No, I get it. I understand your concerns. A bit higher up for me, but the one place I see this working is if you're on a cloaked ship, maybe a cloaked defiant, something that's rolling multiple defense dice, then getting that battle station in can really
Sure.
help.
Yeah,
So
but unfortunately, by the time you get to battle station, you've already taken the damage. It's
true.
um, yeah. I don't know.
Hey, we line up again.
There we go.
Yeah, so Captain Skill Boost, Cisco, and maybe extra defense dice. I do like that you get the extra defense dice against all attacks from the ships if
Yep.
you're in the forward firing arc. Oh gosh, I remember the headache that the Borg caused with this because they don't have forward firing arcs.
Oh, sure.
And but yeah, I also like that your captain skill goes up pretty quick. You get up to skill 9, you keep it even if you take damage, and that's good, right? There's a lot. There is a fair bit to like here. It's not everything because you do have to take damage to boost that skill, but if you can
Yeah.
repair it, you keep it. The thing I really don't like is that it has to be hull damage.
Mm.
Now you can cheese it a little bit. You can decker yourself to get up to skill 8 right away and then have a way to repair damage. And you could even do that in the first 2 rounds if you really wanted to. But I think that's a waste of time.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, it's not completely unheard of.
No, I mean it's not a it's kind of an interesting ability. I mean it's not hard to get two opposing ships in your crosshair or their crosshairs with your ship.
Mm-hmm.
So you're probably going to roll that extra defense die more often than not. I think there's some more utility now with that secondary ability with ships of the line, and you put them on, the Sovereign or the Prometheus with Alaska. You take that whole damage and you can just repair it.
Yeah.
But you keep that captain skill up. So some tanky ship like the Prometheus probably would do better. But at the end of the game, it's +2, so he ends up with a 9. So it's pretty solid. Um, I just feel like I just want maybe a little bit more. I just don't know what needs to happen here, but
I think it might need to be like, even, I was thinking about it, even if he could get up to skill 10, I think that would help a lot.
skill 10 would help. I feel like, and this might make it too good, but you roll one extra defense die for every ship that is you're in their primary firing mark. So if you have two ships, it's +2. If you have three, it's +3. Maybe that makes it too powerful, but again, I think it's thematic with Cisco, going in there with the Defiant guns blazing, and somehow, against all odds, it comes away unscathed. Makes
Yeah.
sense to me, but
You definitely
I don't
have
know.
to make him cost more for that.
Probably,
But now
yeah.
that's
I mean, I
starting to
would
feel
agree.
like the Cisco card, the captain card that is Ben Cisco.
Yeah,
That to me is
yeah,
fitting. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, and it hits rule of three right away, so
yeah,
it's not everything. All right.
yeah. I don't know.
Well, our fours and our twos swapped. I I like the counterattack. I call this counterattack Cisco. I like taking the chance. I don't mind the Ox Power token. In fact, I think this captain kind of fits naturally on the ISS Defiant, where you're going to
Mm.
absorb a certain amount of damage. Then you can control like letting one into your hull to trigger this ability, and you can kind of play the game saying, "I never need an action. I'm good." Or you can put this on like the Enterprise, the tiny price, and
Yeah,
make sure
sure.
you get an action anyways. There's ways to control the Ox power. This is each time. So if you're up against a swarm and you're taking one damage, two damage, you can trigger it again and again and again. So that can help. It's not everything. I think you do run a risk. You don't want to be taking whole damage, but I think yeah, it's this Cisco is for me. It's not. He's not amazing, but he he is the most emblematic captain of up against the odds. I can still do something that's going to make you suffer for what you've done to me. And so, as an opponent, if you have one hold left, you don't want to shoot him. You will go attack anybody else because you do not want to take a 50-50 on essentially killing yourself.
That's a good point.
It's yeah, it's one of those things, and especially if you put him on like the mirror Amar, you're like, oh well, if I put any hull damage on that ship, not only am I 50-50 taking a chance at suffering a damage, but then they're going to get to shoot back at me. There's a lot of little cool combos that can come in here that make him fun to play. I don't think he's great to play, but I do think he's fun. So that's what I went for. I went for the fun play.
You can put Cheat Death as the elite talent there too,
I
and
do think
just
that's a
push him a little
natural
bit.
fit. It's you
Yeah,
want
yeah,
one more time to activate his ability. How do you get
yeah,
one more time? You cheat death.
yeah.
And if Sisko wasn't cheating death all the way through the Dominion War, I don't know who was.
Well, yeah, he had some help from the wormhole aliens there,
Yeah, I
getting in
guess
the way.
Worf was cheating death.
Worf just invited death as a cam.
Yeah, Worf's like, yeah, whatever,
Yeah, yeah.
bring it.
Well, I got the to boldly go Cisco. I mean, to be honest with you, I usually just gloss over that first ability. I mean, it's nice if you're playing against Dominion and you're going to run into Ducat's Bird of Prey on more than one occasion. You might run into Ducat, and there are a few players I know that are very Dominion heavy, so you always get that bonus there. But for me, I mean, you pick up this Cisco for the Aux removal.
Sure.
And he's a natural fit on, the Odyssey to trigger its free action, or the Intrepid for its free action, things like that, where you're going to be accumulating them. You can just strip it away. Is it amazing? No. Does it is it even thematic to Cisco? Probably not. I feel maybe that's kind of weird, but um, it's nice to know that you have a way to deal with that aux token regardless. And if you have a situation where you think you're going to be accumulating a lot of tokens, he would combine well with something like Harry Kim, or some other function where you can deal with that. And there's even like that. I think is it the new Romulan engineer from Alliance 3, where I think you gain a aux token to remove like a time token or something from any upgrade. So I guess combining those, where you kind of playing around with removing extra time tokens, and then you just get rid of the aux token right away, something like that. But there's something there, if you want to play around with it. I'm gonna have to look that one up here.
I'm
What is
looking that
that?
up as well.
Yeah.
Well, while we look that up, our number one is
Yep.
mutual here. It is Crew Cisco, which again, it's weird. It's weird that the best Cisco in our estimation is the crew.
Yeah. Yeah. Which I mean, kind of makes sense, because you figure, I mean, technically he was the commander of the Defiant, but for a large stretch of that, he really wasn't the one always in command. It was Worf and then Jadzia.
Kira occasionally.
Kira was in there too. Yeah, for sure. So I mean, he definitely. I mean, he was kind of a supporting character. I mean, he was the commander, but he did as much to support the rest of his crew than maybe any other captain. He wasn't always the front and center, but he was still integral to the whole process.
He was. Um, Sorry, I'm flipping through
Oh, yeah.
cards, alliance cards here.
Yeah, so it's not the Romulan engineers, it's the Klingon engineer. So at the end phase, if you don't have a aux token, you can gain one to repair one hull damage, or flip one face up damage card face down. So, maybe something you can play with there. Would almost actually work better with the counter attack Cisco, honestly. But
Mm,
um,
yeah,
anyway, but yeah, back to this Cisco.
yeah. So yeah, being able to remove time tokens or disable token from fed weapons. There's enough fed weapons that you want to do this to,
Yeah,
and then also get a battle station token on what is it, about 10 fed ships with fed prototype. It's really good.
yeah.
Okay, it costs you an Ox power token. Plenty of ways to deal with that. Unfortunately, the best way to deal with that is also a Benjamin Sisko, and you can't
I mean,
run them
another
both.
Cisco. Yeah,
But yeah, I no, just the flexibility you get there, uh, being able to remove time tokens from weapons or disable from weapons. It makes quantum torpedoes better. It makes photons better. Not that they needed to be a whole lot better, but better. Um, and it can take a weapon that your opponent disabled this round, and you say, okay, start a combat phase. I'm re-enabling it, and I'm
yeah,
firing at you with it. And
yeah. I mean,
boy, that's just a kick. That's a kick to the mouth when you're like, I went to all this work to make that happen, and it was for nothing.
Yeah, I mean, this is probably one of my favorite abilities from Ships of the Line. Oddly enough, the one weapon it won't work with is the Ships of the Line version of the photon torpedo, since they only take 2 time tokens. So
Yeah.
by the time you get to the combat phase, there's only one left, so you technically can't remove just one. But I love putting this. I think I mentioned this one in one of our previous episodes with all the enterprises we rank. But I love the idea of putting him on the original Aux Enterprise, and combining him with full power phaser barrage, and you just laugh as you accumulate all these Aux tokens, and you're just constantly firing these high powered phaser barrages with the potential for extra damage and stuff. Um, but yeah, I mean, he's a natural fit on any of the Federation prototypes. Oddly enough, he really wouldn't work. Doesn't excel on the Sao Paulo. You could put him on the original Defiant, which maybe makes some sense, but you won't get that extra battle station token on the Sao Paulo since it's not Federation prototype. But that would combo fantastic with him and Worf and stuff on there. But um, yeah, it's just super versatile. It just seems a little weird that it's a crew version of Cisco. But I think if this were on a captain card, I feel it might not make sense either. I feel this is definitely more of a crew ability kind of thing anyway. So
It's definitely a crew ability, but I could see it working on a captain.
yeah,
I just
yeah,
I don't know that this is, again, I don't know that this is Ben Cisco. It
yeah.
works somewhat, but
I guess from the perspective that he built the Defiant, right? So and that's the Defiant's like the premier warship in the Alpha Quadrant. So
yeah.
I guess he knows a thing or two about weapons. He basically help the Terran Alliance build the ISS Defiant from scrap parts somewhere. I don't know where. I still don't quite understand how that ragtag group of rebels managed to put together this super advanced warship that the Federation took years to develop. But so I
Yeah.
mean, there's some fanaticism there. But you're right. It still doesn't quite feel like a you know like a Benjamin Sisko card. I don't know, but I'm happy to take it.
Oh, I am too. It's definitely really good. Um, yeah. We. I think this is the most crossover we've ever had. I mean, this was
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
just our 4 and our 2 were flipped, and outside of that, everything was pure lineup,
Yeah.
which tells you there's not a whole lot of difference with Cisco. Uh, yeah, I think the only thing for me is this Robinson Cisco's just been on my mind, because as I was doing a full reorganization of my attack wing collection, there were like 4 cards and like 3 base plates that I was missing, and this Cisco was one of them. And I've since reacquired everything, but yeah, otherwise this is kind of a forgettable Cisco. So maybe that's why it stuck out more for me. But
I mean, yeah, none of them are real standouts aside from my number one. I definitely is very solid, but
yeah, I
I don't think we had any of the Captain Cisco's
it,
in the Fed ring. I think
we
maybe
didn't.
Jerry had did any of us have the Ox token one? Maybe not. I guess
No,
no. I guess not.
no, no Cisco's. No, yeah, I was the only one with Janeway. We had Kirk, we had Picard.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, Janeway, the double action Janeway definitely is you know a very good one as well. But I think it has to have the right build. Not
Yeah,
every ship needs double action. But
no, no. I did. I think I had Borg Janeway in that, but
oh, board Janeway, yeah, of course, sure. Well, that one's
which,
good too.
I mean, is that really the same? Nah, probably not. But we'll see. All right. Well, I know I've seen the comments. Y'all want like a ranking of doctors, so we'll probably do that at some point. We got some other fun ones cooking. But I think that's where we'll call it. As always, Tristan, thank you for your help in ranking these.
You're welcome anytime.
Everyone, Tristan's stuff's linked in the description. Check him out. Send good stuff to him. And but yeah, we'll call it there. Thank you all for watching. Till next time, keep brushing up your game.